Good morning. It's my turn for Moderator Monday. I'm Carody Kidwell, and I get to tell you guys about my master books journey. So I have lots of backstory, and I wrote everything down so that I wouldn't get off track because I tend to rabbit trail. So here is my story. I'm going to start way back. I went to private school from kindergarten through sixth grade, except for a couple of years in there when I went to public school. Then I was homeschooled from sixth grade, middle of sixth grade, until I graduated. My parents used a Becca and Bob Jones and Life Packs and Saxon because that was what was available 30 years ago, curriculum wise. So then after high school, I went to junior college. Morning, guys. And that was a fabulous 5 years of my life. I know most people only go for a couple of years, but I just couldn't stop. I kept taking classes, and eventually they mailed me a diploma and said, "You've graduated, you can stop coming now." So I did, but I changed my major a couple of times while I was there, studied elementary education and music, and ended up with interior design. I met my husband, got married, we had 2 boys, and I was actually ready to start homeschooling before I even met my husband. Minor details, you need to get married first. So um, anyway, we started homeschooling when the boys were just 3 and 4, which I know is super early, but I was raring to go. So we started out using, it was 2008 when we started homeschooling. So morning, Laura. Hi, Jessica. Hey, Sarah. Okay. So we started out using Sunlight, and I was just, reading to the boys and doing fun books and stuff. So then in January of 2009, which was halfway through our school year, I had an ectopic pregnancy, which ended in surgery. And then in February, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so that changed our school year completely. And I went through 8 months of chemo and radiation, and was tired all the time. I was just laying down and mostly on the couch for that whole year. The boys watched a lot of TV. They remember it as like the best year ever because mom just laid and they watched TV. Anyway, so my oldest turned 5 during that year, and we purchased the next Sunlight Core. He read it mostly on his own. And I found out later that's really not a great thing to do. He started questioning which is true. Is the Bible true, or are my school books true? And so I was still tired, and realized after a while that I was pregnant again. So we had baby number 3. This was after cancer's gone, everything's good. So the doctor had asked if we were going to have more kids, and we were like, what? We hadn't considered that. We thought we were kind of done, but he said, no, you're good to have more. So we did. We had baby number 3. But during that time, I spent several years just searching for the right curriculum that was going to meet all of our needs. I had my 4th son in 2014, and he's just been really intense from the beginning. He was 12 pounds when he was born, and he kind of wore me out physically, and he's very, very intense. He's got, I don't know, haven't had him diagnosed with anything, but we think he's got some OCD and things going on, but he's super smart, and he started escaping the house. From the time he was about 1.5, 2 years old, we had moved to the country to get some land. Like, we've got 4 boys, they need room to roam. So we installed every sort of locks on our doors. We installed alarms, and he figured all of them out. He would jump, he would get a lightsaber and jump and jump and jump and jump and hit the locks, and he figured them all out. So anyway, I needed more independent curriculum, and I realized that I couldn't I couldn't teach my older kids and take care of the Duncan. So at that time, my priorities were academics, and I wanted to encourage a love of learning. Um, my husband and I both really want practical life application for our boys, and we want to tailor their education to their learning needs. Um, so a friend had suggested master books to me right before the 2016 homeschool conference, the local one. And I had my heart set on Abeka. I really felt like I was being led to Abeka. And I don't know whether I was being led there or if it was just my stubbornness, but I had all these memories of when I was homeschooled and being able to do my work independently. And my mom didn't need to be too involved. And so I just went straight to that. And we purchased it. I had to make the phone call to my husband telling him how much it was going to cost. And that was a shocker to both of us. And we started and we got overwhelmed very quickly. And slowly but surely over the course of that year, I stopped using subjects. I stopped spelling, and then I stopped reading comprehension, and then I stopped one after the other. But it was still taking them all day to get their schoolwork done. So there were lots of tears. There was lots of frustration. And I still couldn't spend time with my youngest child who really needed it. I was at the point where I was ready to make my own curriculum and just like take books off of my bookshelf and make schedules. Anybody who knows me knows that I love to make spreadsheets and schedules and all sorts of things. And then I rebel against them and don't use them fully. That's just me. So I love to organize. The implementation part is where I struggle. So I finally looked into master books. I was just out of frustration. I felt like I'd tried everything else. And my friend was very persistent, which I'm very thankful for. She kept encouraging me to look into it. She kept saying, this is everything that you have been saying that you want in a curriculum. So as soon as I got on the website, I felt really excited. At the time, the website said, homeschooling for the real world, biblical, flexible, affordable. And I was like, yes, that's everything that I want in curriculum. So I purchased it for my 3 oldest boys in March of 2017. They were 6, 11, and 12 at the time. And I gotta say, as a planner, I was a little disappointed at first because everything's all planned out. And the content was amazing. I love the content, but it was already planned. What was I going to do? I was going to have to implement, and I was going to have to use the curriculum with my kids and not spend all of my time planning. So anyway, it really has helped me focus my attention where it needs to be, which is on the actual teaching of my children and going through the curriculum with them and learning what they're learning and how they need to learn. I learned a lot about my children when we first started because I didn't know where they should be in language arts or in math. Really, they had just been following the grade levels of whatever curriculums that we were using. We had been going by the numbers. So I got to learn a lot about where they needed to be. It was trial and error. The placement tests weren't available for writing strands yet. And so we tried, we started them both in the same level. It turned out that was the wrong level for both of them. One went up, one went down, but they're both doing great now. We figured out what their interests were in science, which I had never even considered asking them what they were interested in studying before. So that was really cool. And in history, I had them just kind of tell me what they remembered from everything that we had studied so far, which was basically nothing. They didn't really remember anything. And so we kind of got to start from scratch with history, which was actually fun. I did feel really peaceful, even in the midst of all of that, trying to figure out where we were and what they knew and what they were interested in. The peace that is in our home now is just amazing. And I realized pretty quickly what we were missing in all of our other curriculum is that we weren't learning to praise God through our schoolwork. And so I gotta say, my favorite thing now about homeschooling is that we can praise God all day long. As we're learning about his creation, and we're learning about the order he's established in math, and we're learning about his works throughout history. And it has made our days just full of praise for God, which it's totally changed our mindset towards school. It's just another way to praise God. So I found a quote from C.S. Lewis, and I wanted to read it. It is from his book, Reflections on the Psalms. And I'm going to just read this to you guys. He says, "But the most obvious fact about praise, whether of God or anything, strangely escaped me. I thought of it in terms of compliment, approval, or the giving of honor. I had never noticed that all enjoyment spontaneously overflows into praise unless shyness or the fear of boring others is deliberately brought in to check it. The world rings with praise, lovers praising their mistresses, readers their favorite poets, walkers praising the countryside, players praising their favorite game, praise of weather, wines, dishes, actors, motors, horses, colleges, countries, historical personages, children, flowers, mountains, rare stamps, rare beetles, even sometimes politicians or scholars. I had not noticed how the humblest and at the same time most balanced and capacious minds praised most, while the cranks, misfits, and malcontents praised least. I had not noticed either that just as men spontaneously praise whatever they value, so they spontaneously urge us to join them in praising it. Isn't she lovely? Wasn't it glorious? Don't you think that magnificent? The psalmists, in telling everyone to praise God, are doing what all men do when they speak of what they care about. I think we delight to praise what we enjoy because the praise not merely expresses, but completes the enjoyment. It is its appointed consummation. It is not out of compliment that lovers keep on telling one another how beautiful they are. The delight is incomplete till it is expressed." And John Piper also he drew 4 inferences from Lewis's quotation. And so I wanted to read those as well, because I think those are amazing. He said, number 1, the greatest favor God can do for us is to seek his praise in us as the consummation of our joy in him. Number 2, God is the one being in the universe for whom self-exaltation is the highest virtue and the most loving act. Number 3, God is most glorified in us when we are the most satisfied in him. And number 4, the chief end of man is to glorify God by enjoying him forever. And we had always learned, we learned the catechism. And number 1, what is the chief end of man? Well, the chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. I had never considered we can glorify God by enjoying him. So, but that is one of the biggest things that Master Books has done for us, is it's helped us to put into words the praise that we want to give God for everything that he's done. And I found that it really gives us, my kids and I, a better ability to communicate our praise of God to others. And that is why we love this curriculum so much. I hope you guys have a blessed day today and a great week. I know a lot of you are starting for the first time, and I'm praying for you. And I am so honored to be able to be a moderator on this group and be able to talk to you guys every day. Bye-bye.